welcome to the yet another inspiring session of Time to Shine. This is episode 54 of the Time to Shine talk show, and we have an inspiring guest join with us today, Carla Julian. She's a pioneer of mindfulness and yoga practices. She's helping young lives to transform their life through yoga, through mindfulness, and she has a very impactful experience, and she has a very rich experience in doing this. Welcome, Carla, in my show, and I'm so glad to have you today.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure for me to be on your show. That's super exciting. It's great. Thank you. Really
Yeah.
grateful.
Yeah. So, Carla, I wanted to know how you have started this journey. Like in your bio, it's written that you have in 2013, you moved from London to Dubai for starting this
Right.
journey. So, how this all happened and what came in your mind to start this?
Right. Okay. There are two stories. One is related to how I introduced children's yoga. When the two stories merge together and eventually become one. And then the second story, it's what brought me to Dubai. So the first story leading on to the second was about me being a languages teacher, a language B teacher in an inner city school in London. And it was all girls. And I was doing a lot of yoga at the time. I was practicing very actively. A lot of the students, of course, knew. Yoga was gaining popularity for many, many reasons. And this is a long, long, long time ago, okay? But yoga in schools was not a thing until for the last term, we had to fit in a session once a week. We had a slot, a 1 hour slot. So because the timetable was super tight, it was a really highly academic school, really competitive, really strong in sports, really strong academically as well, and also language college. There was literally very little time allowed to kind of do much of a new intro or like an experimental kind of level project. So what we did was introduce children's yoga in that one slot that was assigned to PSHE. Back in, I'm sure like today it's got a different name, but back then was personal social health education. These days, it's more like mindfulness or social skills or awareness, because we've become a lot more aware and that we celebrate. So those were really, really early days. I'm talking about maybe 18 years ago.
Mhm.
It's a long time ago. And we were very privileged. We had a rooftop, really great space. We had yoga mats. And we were giving 1 hour of yoga to practice every week, which I thought, okay, if we have to be in school 1 hour early, why not do something that's going to be good for our mind and body? And I was practicing for my own yoga course because I was studying. I was a yoga student back then. So it all kind of happened. It just came to me as a gift. It came to the students as a gift. Little did I know, I honestly started practicing with them in terms of fitness and for the kids to try out yoga. And it's nice to get a workout in before work. And we would quickly change and get ready and start practicing. And there were a lot of athletes, a lot of dancers, a lot of swimmers. And of course, they had the physicality and they enjoyed practicing hugely. And then we had other kids who were, well, not as active, not really so attuned into movement. So they had a slower introduction to yoga. They took it on one step at a time. The beauty in it is it's not competitive. So it was really yoga for all. It was great to see how the kids actually began to tolerate each other more, to gain respect for each other, to gain respect for the space. It was two forms together, so that was average of 60 girls, which is a big number. So of course, not everybody gets along, but that's okay. That's fine. You don't have to get along with everybody, but you have to respect people. You're in the same school, in the same space, under the same roof, and everybody is entitled to have the same opportunity. So the behavior changed, the attitude changed, and then also straight after we were going to specialist subjects, and a lot of them did stay with me for advanced Spanish. And the stress levels were gone. We would just go straight into learning, and it was just a natural flow in that dynamic, in that transition. So there was no arguing over like, guys, sit down, come on, listen, get your books out, get ready to learn. educators would understand what I'm talking about. And quite a bit of your lesson time, of the learning time, is gone just trying to get people settled. And you're not settled, settle in, settle down, calm down. It was always a little bit difficult to get started, but after yoga, it was not. And some were going into advanced chemistry, some were going into advanced math. And then I started getting the same feedback from other teachers. So I was like, oh, so this is not only in my class. And then it started clicking. And then when we got results back, because these were exam years, the results had excelled. I mean, those three groups were highly academic, high achievers, but they excelled their expectations. So then I created Pioneer Project, which was yoga for academic performance. Because again, we manage with stress. Then I learned more about it. I did my own research and I put all the information together and all the data together. And then we were able to run further projects for A-level students, so for senior students. And we also brought it down to Key Stage 3, so that is juniors. And it worked really well. It was really a beautiful experience. And that gave me the launch and the springboard
That's wonderful.
to had to come through to the Middle East, in which well, yoga was a very small scene when I first came through over 11 years ago. And there was no yoga for children. So it was actually really hard to find a yoga class. It was a little bit underground, let's say. It was a little bit underground, unheard of. We didn't know about it, let alone for kids. So when I first started, it was difficult because the feedback was like, well, children cannot do yoga. There was such lack of awareness. They cannot sit still. What do you do in a yoga class? And I said, well, it's like any other activities, like any other discipline. In dance, it's adapted. In football, it's adapted. You don't play to a professional level. You don't dance to a professional level, but you start from a beginner's level, from a kid's level. So then
Exactly.
you begin to play. So that's how I came into the Middle East, and that's how yoga came to me in the classroom. I started with older ones, with teenagers, and then I brought it down to nursery level, to early years.
And it's wonderful,
Yeah.
it's a new concept for me as well. Like, basically, there are so many guests on the show, yoga experts whom I have interviewed, and so many different versions I'm getting to know, and the positive impact which yoga has on adults, But this is the very first time which I'm getting to know what impact does it have on teens and toddlers as well. So, Carla, can you share with that what one simple mindfulness exercise parents can try with their toddlers and one for teens?
Okay, simple exercises that you can try pretty much anytime, anywhere. I would say starting with a breathing exercise. These are always very, very powerful. So deep breathing, or what we call belly breathing, in which you focus on directing the breath. It's diaphragmatic breath. So you direct the breath really, really, really deep down to the bottom of your abdomen. So then, of course, that rises your abdomen or your belly. You make a big balloon for little ones with your belly, and then you let the balloon go away. And then one more time, big breath in, or and then you let the balloon go away. Or you can also do it with your hands, and you start counting. So that gives them a sense of control or focus. So it's more specific. It's not as abstract. So you take a big breath in and you begin to count 1, filling it up 2, filling it up 3. As you breathe into your nose, filling up 4, filling up 5, and then slowly 5, making it smaller, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you help them count. They count themselves. You can give them different options. They can count in their mind, so silently. And you're breathing into your lungs. You're breathing all the way down. Diaphragm pushes down into the abdomen. So you're really filling up your lungs. When your lungs are full and you increase your lung capacity, it feels like you're breathing into your belly, but what happens is your diaphragm is pushing down your internal organs, and that's a really nice internal massage. And it's that stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's very soothing, very relaxing. So
Yes,
that's an exercise that's super powerful, anytime, anywhere, any
anytime. And
place,
it's
any.
super easy, like to do and apply daily.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. You just have to have that power to connect with your breath, connect with your body, and bring the awareness. With the breathing balls, it's very easy. If you don't have a breathing ball or any other toy or item that can expand and contract, you can use your hands. or just bring your hands on your belly, and then you feel your belly rising and sinking away. So that's really nice. And for older ones, I like alternate nostril breathing, in which if they get a little bit confused, this is to balance the left and right hemisphere of the brain. So you're balancing out your use of logic and reasoning, and you're balancing out your creativity and imagination, so they're level, and you're connecting them through that corpus callosum, which is the bridge that actually merges these two hemispheres of the brain. So you're regulating with left and right side. If you want to do it a bit more simple, let's say you close one side, breathe into your right, 3, 2, 1. Close your right, breathe out through your left. Try to breathe out
Tried
for
many
long.
times.
3, 2, 1, and then again breathe into your left. 1, 2, 3, and then try a little bit longer. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you always want to breathe out for longer than you breathe in for. Maybe even if it's just a tiny bit, until you train yourself to do better. Okay, more pro version. You cross your ring finger, right hand ring finger over your pinky. Okay, and then you bring your index and your middle finger in, and your thumb stays out. So what you do is you're closing your nostril with the tip of your ring finger. You're breathing into your right, and then closing your right, breathing out through your
Okay, exhale
left.
it out in that way.
Right, breathing into your left, closing your left, breathing out through your right. It really is soothing. It's great for anxiety. It's great for kids who are really stressed out. It's great for like, oh my God, I don't know what to do when we're going a little bit out of sync. It's a
Yes.
really good one. Again, you can do it in the classroom, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It's a
Yes.
really, really good
And
starter.
even if we are nervous, for example, yeah, if we have an interview or anything, like if you want to give a presentation, we can do this exercise, easily before that.
That's right. It's a very soothing and very self-regulating exercise for any situation that you might be facing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So
Carla, talking
you're
about like,
calibrating.
yeah, you can carry on.
Yeah, you're calibrating the nervous system and calibrating your breath, regulating all of your respiratory and your nervous system in the parasympathetic, parasympathetic. So you're bringing down your fight and fight response and really igniting your rest and digest. So you're in a state of peace and you're level and you're more grounded. So you're also opening up both nostrils, so you're able to breathe nicely and evenly through both, because sometimes one tends to be a little bit more blocked than the other, sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's a
So,
good
Carla,
leveling, grounding and good leveling exercise.
exactly, exactly. So, when we talk about family dynamics, how can yoga and mindfulness strengthen family dynamics and support mental health at home? Because there are many issues arising, related to mental health. How to keep that bonding and that environment of and that ambience, how to create a positive ambience through yoga.
I think family yoga is a very good thing to practice. I also created Mom and Me. This is a bit of a personal thing, and I discovered doing activities with my mother at an older age, but I still enjoyed it a lot. So we used to go to Pilates together every time I was in town. I left my country, my home country, a long, 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 long time ago. And when I was a child, I didn't have the opportunity to do any physical activity with my mom. It just didn't happen. So then every time I was back, she didn't want to miss out her class because she really enjoys it. So she would drag me along, said, okay, fine. So we would walk together, have a chat, have breakfast, and enjoy the class. And that was a great bonding time and a great co-regulating opportunity for the two of us. And then we would finish the class and each would carry on with their plans. So when I came to the Emirates, I created Mom and Me Yoga. Sometimes I do it for mothers and daughters. Now it's Mother's Day coming up tomorrow, so it's a popular class. Sometimes I just do an open event with mixed little boys and little girls. or not so little. Sometimes we go up to the age of 10. It depends on the actual venue or the target they're hitting in whichever space it is that I'm doing the activity. But it's an opportunity for everybody to co-regulate, to spend time together, to build trust, to create a good opportunity to lead by example, in which we're all together practicing well-being. And we do breathing exercises, we do warm-ups, we do partner poses. So it's a lot of fun. It's not about how good you are at it, but it's about how good you are at spending time together. You also have the opportunity to learn off each other. So you have to work together in coordination, in balancing, in gaining strength, in lifting up. So sometimes we do a tiny bit of acro-yoga, and then the moms have to, of course, lift up the kids, and they go kind of flying, and it's very exciting, but they have to build that trust and that teamwork so they can actually do the acrobatic part, or else it's
Definitely.
not happening. So it's overcoming those sometimes barriers or those frustrations, and it's a very good bonding opportunity for everybody. Sometimes we also do family yoga or yoga for all, in which I've had 2 or 3 generations. So it literally is open. I've even had grandparents practice. Again, each person practices to their ability. You cannot compare a grandpa or a grandma with a 3 or a 4 year old, but it's a lot of fun. So then you have to be, as a trainer or as a coach, you have to be very mindful of the sequences that you put together and how you make the kids practice with the adults, or how the adults practice together in between them. I've had clients practice with their own parents. So, and that's actually quite nice because it's
Exactly.
yoga for children, yoga for adult children. But it's still, it's still someone's child, and it's still someone's mom or dad, and it's really beautiful. But it's in terms of awareness, because you have to be a lot more careful when your mom is maybe 70 plus or 80
Yes.
plus. You have to be really, really mindful, but still that they encourage movement, and they encourage flexibility, and they encourage coordination, and still working together. Because sometimes, even though people are under the same roof as a family, they're not necessarily together. They don't necessarily know much about each other. They don't necessarily spend a lot of time together. They just happen to cohabit, to coexist. So they're not really bonding, they're not really gelling very nicely. So these activities are beautiful for families to sync together as a family, as one.
Yeah.
So that is the
So, where
beauty.
do you see, Carla, the future of mindfulness education for kids and teens heading? And how can parents and educators get involved in this more and more?
Okay, since mental health is a huge part of our present, of our reality, I think there are more and more places nowadays, thank goodness, thank you, universe, that are open to seeing mindfulness, and to seeing yoga, and to seeing well-being for all age groups, um, as a key element, as a pillar of creating an overall grounded person. Okay, it doesn't really matter how old they are, but we're just looking at a person. So we're looking at regulation, co-regulation, children with additional needs, ADD, ADHD, ASD. Like we really looking into inclusion, or bringing people of determination into mainstream schooling. So it's all really fully comprehensive. And the beauty in yoga is that you're working at your own pace, and that yoga is accessible to all. So you don't have to be a super pro yogi, but you can be super pro at what you can do. So you start slowly with a breathing exercise. If you can breathe, you can already do a lot. And then you start slowly with some poses. You start going this way, you start going the other way. So you're doing bilateral movement, you're doing balancing, you're doing coordination. So slowly, slowly, although some children start on a very, very, very basic level, making some shapes, making a box with your body, trying to make a circle, trying to make a triangle with your body. And that is your own version of the triangle. It
Exactly.
slowly, slowly, it starts getting better. And you're also working without any pressure. So you join in when you want to join in. Sometimes children need additional time, which you can't really allow for in many other
Yes.
areas or any other disciplines. If it's a football game, it's either you're playing or you're not, because if you're not playing, then you've lost. They're gonna
Yes.
score
And we
points,
can't make
right?
it boring. We have to keep it interactive especially for kids.
Exactly, exactly. So it is interactive, but some kids choose to watch in the beginning. They have
Yes.
to earn the trust. They have
Depends
to
on their
feel.
behaviors.
Exactly. Depends on their behaviors, depends on what's happening at home. It depends on a language barrier sometimes. It depends on ability. Sometimes I
Yes.
think they
Yes.
feel a little bit like, oh, I'm not able to do that yet, so I'm going to watch. And then they practice at home because then the parents tell me, how are they doing? So, well, it's kind of observing. Oh, because he's showing me at home. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then he's doing it with you. He's learning from me and he's doing it with you. Okay, no problem. And then eventually they join in. So it's that flexibility that you give the child. You join in
Yes.
when you're ready. So that's already
Exactly.
taking so much pressure off a child, regardless of their age, regardless of the background, regardless of their ability. And again, everybody can join. And it's also fantastic, the fact that we're in a group dynamic, in a group setting for the most part. And that's a private class, but that doesn't often happen in schools. And we each have our own mat. So then it's being together, but also having your own individual space. And your mat is your safe space. So having that sense of safety for any child is hugely important. So I really think education in touching on mental health and raising awareness, bringing on student well-being, and there's like fantastic teams now leading schools with lots of counselors and lots of well-being projects and lots of having opportunities with people like myself coming in for trainings, coming in for sessions with the kids, coming in for just breathing exercises.
Yes.
I think we're actually opening up that door finally, and again, thanks the universe that this is manifesting, and
Yes.
it's really beautiful. So it's a big time for celebration, and I really think that's going to make a really positive, big and positive impact in students' lives and also in teachers' lives as well, because it's going to impact academic results. It's going to impact behaviors.
Yes. It
For
do
sure.
have a positive impact on academic results as well. You said it rightly.
Yeah, huge, huge, because you're working with children who are better regulated, far less stressed out. And you're also learning, or well, teaching them to self-regulate, so they can manage themselves. You giving
Yes.
them a tool set, like when you teach maths and they have that tool set. So now they can pay for the bus and they can understand how much it is. Something that simple, that basic. It doesn't have to be square root. So something that simple, that basic is a breathing exercise, which helps with your co-regulation, self-regulation, and it makes a huge, huge impact. So then they start using those tools themselves, and they even like start telling their parents, okay, don't forget to breathe. So I always say that, and don't forget to breathe. You hold a pose, you don't hold a breath if you're doing movement. But also one of the beautiful aspects is that sometimes there's no space, there's no time in the timetable to actually compromise something
Yeah.
else, because the classes are back to back, and it's all very compressed, which I have my reservations about, but that's a separate topic. But a breathing exercise, you can do 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you can do it in any classroom. And that works
Exactly.
beautifully. The yoga class, you actually need a yoga space or a
Yeah.
gym space and yoga
Yes.
mats, and everybody has to change, etc. So it's a different arrangement. But for breathing, you can do it as part of a yoga session, or you can do it just to start a session or to finish a session in any subject, or you can just do a mindful morning, 5 minutes. That's okay. And then do some coloring, which is also nice. It's very therapeutic. You can mix it with aroma, you can mix it with sound. You don't really need to be super equipped with Tibetan sound bowls or healing bowls or anything like that, but you can just have maybe a rain stick or one of the bowls, and that already makes a difference. And any essential oil or an incense, that's already changing the atmosphere and the energy in the room. And it's very therapeutic, it's very, very soothing. So children really appreciate that.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Carla, for joining today's show. And it is so wonderful to have a chat with you on this platform. I hope our viewers will get a lot of insights, and I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. And I also suggest my viewers to join your program, your mindfulness and yoga program, so that they can benefit a lot in return. Thank you so much once again for joining today's show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Real pleasure. Nice talking to you. And I hope everybody has had a little bit more light on what children's yoga and
Exactly.
mindfulness is about.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.